Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. I've still got the bronchitis over here, but I'm here anyway with a very special guest today to bring you joy. So get your mugs, get your coffee, and let's get ready for some joy this morning. Here we go. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I'm still here acting as the one of the characters from Monster Inc. this morning with my voice. My kids are getting a real kick out of making fun of how I sound on a day-to-day basis, but I'm hoping that we're at the tail end. I'm going to take this weekend and really rest, and God willing, I'm coming back on Monday with a full voice, sounding how I usually sound. At least we're gonna manifest that today. Let us know if you're joining us this morning. And of course, sharing what's bringing you joy today. This is Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Super excited to be here with you, bronchitis or not. Always glad to share in some joy with you today. So, without further ado, let's get into the morning brew and see what's on tap this morning. Are you just waking up? Are you going about your day? Let me know at what point of the day you're in. Either way, we're here to bring you some joy. I've got a quick social joy spotlight for you kicking off the show here today, focusing on a band that I saw recently. Really excited to tell you about some news with them. And then I welcome an incredible guest to Project Joy. Now, you may not be one that watches the Breakthrough Show. Maybe you only watch Project Joy Live. I don't know why, but that's okay. And either way, he was recently on last year on the Breakthrough Show representing Ireland for our Breakthroughs Around the World series. And he's a facial analysis expert. Our guest this morning is going to help us figure out maybe if we can see, if we can tell if someone's happy or joyful or glad to see us maybe by their face, not just what they say. Joseph McGuire is here joining us this morning. So he's going to be joining us after our spotlight. Then we've got birthdays coming up later for you today as well. And lots of exciting things happening within our virtual community this evening as well. So stay tuned for all of that. And with that, let's get to our social joy spotlight. All right, you guys, I shared with you recently that we went to and took my girls to a 311 concert at Mohegan Sun Casino here in Uncasville, Connecticut. And there was an opening band for them called Sitting on Stacy. I'd never heard of them before, and they were really, really incredible. So, very exciting news. They came out with a brand new album last night. So, definitely go check that out wherever you stream your music or buy music or anything like that. It's really, really good. And I was so excited. I have to get the name of it for you guys because I think it was the song Marching to the Grave. It took me back, you guys, to for like the music, like the old school 90s ska style song. Like it was so good. It was so good. Definitely love the whole album. Check out the song Tokyo. Check out the song Looking Past Red Flags, Baby Girl, marching to the grave. Like I said, incredible music. Well done, Sitting on Stacy. And I hope we get the opportunity to see you again because they put on a hell of a show. It's sometimes hard, I think, to open up for a band that's been around, a really, really long time, like 311 has, and to have that kind of like stage presence and everything else. So go check out their brand new album called Looking Past Red Flags. And you can check that out, like I said, wherever you stream music. Without further ado, guys, I want to bring on our special guest today. I mentioned he is a facial analysis expert. His website says his mission is to inspire the creation of exceptional personal and professional relationships through authentic communication by revealing clues to the personality, behavior, and performance hidden in clear sight. I'm excited to bring a little joy to that conversation today. Without further ado, let's welcome Joseph McGuire to the show. Joseph, good afternoon. I'm so glad to
Hey,
have you back on the Breakthrough Show Network.
oh, so wonderful to be here. And you can tell your kids, by the way, that the deeper voice gives you an extra sense of gravitas.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that for sure. Um, I've been keeping the cough drops at hand and the water and all of that stuff. So I'm hoping that they'll find less jokes as the days go on. Um, Tell everybody a little bit briefly about yourself, Joseph. I mentioned you're a facial analysis expert, but tell everybody just maybe briefly how you got into that line of work.
Okay, I was reading people when I was a small child. I just intuitively knew stuff about people, men especially. Women are still something of a great mystery, but then most men would tell you that anyway. And then many years later, I moved first to Israel, then to London, and I studied a branch of Oriental medicine. I was introduced to facial diagnosis as one of the diagnostic tools used in traditional Oriental medicine. But I was bowled over by the idea that the Oriental understanding was always that the mind and the body are inseparably connected. So rather than thinking in terms of heart, liver, kidneys, whatever, you were thinking of how those organs related to our emotions, our mental state. And I just went off in that direction particularly. So I was just fascinated by what a face reveals about a person and their history, their direction, their ancestry, and a lot more besides. And so I've been working with that for feels like about 200 years now.
I love it. I love it. I really appreciate how you bring such a grounded perspective to the space because you shared a lot about how we've sort of become fascinated as a society, I think, in what do people really mean. And you brought up a more recent hot topic, which was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case in court, and how people just became fascinated on, are they really telling the truth? Are they really being sincere? How accurate is the art of facial and body analysis, do you think?
Okay. I don't use it exclusively for determining whether somebody is lying because you have to take into account the whole presentation,
Mm,
body language, facial expression, gestures, and how people speak, the tone of voice, rhythm, pitch, all and changes in tone, pitch, and rhythm, as well as then the wording they use. Because things like things like people who are looking to be deceptive will often use words to avoid or
mm,
to deflect and to take you off in a completely different direction and not answer the question at all. So
mm.
you have to take into account the whole picture. I would never want to rely just on the face or body language.
Yeah, that's good to know because I think I saw a lot of commentary that would sort of isolate one particular thing and not take into account the full picture. One of the things that got me, and maybe you can chime in on this, that I kind of watch what I do now. It's sort of drives me nuts about myself. So if I'm talking about something and I'm trying to affirm what I'm saying, but I find myself going like this, but I'm saying yes to what I'm saying, is that really like, am I contradicting do I really not believe what I'm saying?
Not necessarily, not
Okay.
necessarily. It depends on what's normal for you. Like
Mm,
if that's what you normally do, then
gotcha.
forget it. Forget about being conscious about it. Just be however is natural for you, and you'll know whether you're being dishonest or you're what's the political term, being economical with the truth.
Mm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
if it's normal for you, that just go with it. Don't get too caught up in being self-conscious about it because that's when we get stuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's easy when we see these different commentaries to start evaluating what we do and going like, is there something subconsciously that's not aligning here? What's wrong with me?
Yeah, but it even depends on culture. Like in India, for
Mm,
example, people will do a lot of head nodding, which doesn't mean anything specific. It just means they're listening and they're paying some kind of attention. But
interesting.
if we come from the West, we could think, oh, they're being deceptive, they're avoiding something, but it's just what they do in their culture. And then there are other cultures where they do this for no and do that for yes.
Mhm.
So there's so many variations. So really, it's just all I would advise people to do is just relax, just be how you normally are, and like you'll know if you're being deceptive,
Yeah.
and if and you'll either yeah, and you'll know whether that's okay for you or it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it get complicated when you get into um analyzing people who maybe have like a mental illness or even a physical sort of deformation of their face at all? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it can do. It can do. It depend again. It depends on the situation. Like typically, I wouldn't get somebody like that as a client.
Mm,
Somebody might ask me on behalf of somebody else, or they may have a connection, a relationship with somebody with a situation like that. But if, for example, somebody has a like a physical deformity, as we describe it, and then again, like perception, perception is a big part of it. It's about, for me anyway, it's about identifying the strengths in the person, the like the best qualities, and helping them to bring out those qualities. Because often, if there is again a physical deformity, people withdraw into themselves, or they lack confidence, and that doesn't help them, and it doesn't help anyone. So for me, particularly when I'm dealing with people on a personal basis, it's about kindness, but
mm,
not in the sense of being nice for the sake of it, being very real, because everybody, and I would say without exception, everybody I've come across has some feeling of insecurity about themselves. It doesn't matter how much they've accomplished in their life. So if we think in terms of somebody, with that physical restriction, I'll just use that term instead,
mm.
they've probably experienced more of it than most.
Right.
So for
Right.
me, in that situation, my responsibility is to help bring them out, and to help them shine whatever their great qualities are. And everybody has great qualities somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Well, I want to get into the potatoes of what we're talking about here today. And that is, how can we tell? What are some of the cues that we can tell if someone's maybe happy or joyful or happy with us, happy with the situation without them necessarily saying it, or to maybe confirm what they're saying is genuine?
Okay, there's several things in there. The first thing in terms of somebody being happy or joyful is the smile. And what we talk about there is what's called the Duchenne smile. And there's four basic physical components to that. If the smile is real, the corners of the mouth turn up, the lower cheeks pull up, the upper cheeks pull up a little, the eyes kind of crinkle, but the eyes sparkle. There's a radiance to the eyes, and there's like a glow to the person. And they're obviously like their whole posture, even if you just see them on screen like a Head and Shoulders, their whole posture is just relaxed. They're they're beaming, literally beaming. So when you see that, you know somebody is in a place of real happiness or joy. And they're like, you'll often see them when they're talking, then they'll be moving their hands like this. They're very, very expressive, and it's so obvious. It's almost contagious. You'll often see on the other side of it, you'll often see, like if you see, for example, get a good photo or even a video of actors or celebrities on the red carpet, and where you see the face, where you can see the face clearly, you'll often see it's a social smile. It's a practiced smile. So the lower half of the face is smiling, but the eyes aren't. And you'll even sometimes see with celebrities, like when I'm looking at a face, I'm dividing the face into two vertical halves. The right side of the face reveals the public persona. The left side reveals the private persona. And a lot of celebrities, politicians, public figures are very practiced at being socially positive, shall we say, and projecting an image of happiness. But then I look at the left side, and particularly the left eye, and I say, something else going on here. So to practice, just get a selection of photos, good facial photos of politicians, celebrities, and just cover one side of the face first. Ask yourself, what message the visible eye is giving you, and then switch sides and ask yourself if the now visible eye is giving you the same message. And you'll often find with with public figures, it isn't. It's like two different people.
My friends in the United States, just a reminder, this is an election year for us. So this is great information for us coming up on time to vote. Get photos of all of the people that we have running for office and then split it in half. That's such a cool. I had no idea that it was split in half like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Is that true for everybody across the board? Do we have kind of that? I guess we're all Jekyll and Hyde, I feel like.
Well, yeah, there would be some who are very consistent, but we like to think of our features as being symmetrical, but apparently only one in something like 10 million people actually has really symmetrical features.
Oh,
But
I
for
feel
me,
better about myself.
absolutely, absolutely. But the eyes are the most telling thing, and it's not simply what you see in the eyes; it's what you feel from the eyes, because our whole body is an antenna. And our whole body is picking up vibes, sensations, resonance, whatever you want to call it, from people. And we should pay attention to the vibes we're getting and then look for the evidence.
That is so good. So pay attention to the vibes you're getting. Like that.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And that's part of what I love about you is you take that sort of holistic approach to analysis. And it's not just like, well, it's whatever the right eye is doing and that's it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has to be the whole picture. And then again, just going back to the eyes, because again, they're so important. If there's three basic possibilities of feeling you get from the eyes. They're warm, and there's a sense of vibrancy and light, and you can connect with the person. There's neutral, where it's not sure here, or there's cold. And if you get a cold feeling from the eyes, you make sure you protect yourself. I don't mean they're necessarily out to harm you, but they're not there for your best interest. They're there for them. So there's a very selfish dimension to them, and you'll very commonly see that in politicians. And I'm not obviously going to name anybody because it's a global thing. It doesn't relate to one country.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, we see that kind of across the board. Let me know, guys. Lynn's here this morning. Danielle, good to see you. Baker, good to see you. Brittany, Danielle said he's describing my face when I see you, Jessica. Danielle always says she has the resting just like that kind of face. Like, is there anything that we can do to is there a reason why we might want to be aware of what our face is doing or saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Because so much of what we communicate is nonverbal. Our presence communicates something. We go into a room and we say nothing. We're still communicating volumes. Like neuroscience has proven that we have what are called mirror neurons. So if we're in a happy state, we're triggering that response in others, a happy, positive state, even if they're not consciously aware of it. Whereas if we're angry or unhappy, again, we're sending out that message to people before we say a single thing. So if we go back to if I use myself as an example, I was very insecure growing up, so I got it closed off, and I actually, as a teenager, teenagers are weird anyway, as we know. But I actually trained my face not to show expression. So I actually had to untrain my face. And I actually had to learn to practice smiling.
Wow.
So Danielle used the term we use for what she described is we call it resting bitch face.
Yeah.
And so I'm familiar with it because men do it too. But if we want to convey a really positive impression, and I always recommend it, even going into a business meeting, practice smiling. Practice smiling as often as possible. And obviously the theme for today is joy, and the theme for the program is joy. So listen to music that makes you happy. Move, you're cleaning or you're cooking at home. Put on some music that you want to move to and you just feel good. Wear clothes that make you feel good. Do stuff that makes you feel good, not think good, feel good. And just practice smiling. Use any opportunity to laugh. Just get into that state, because it communicates such a positive energy about who you are, and people pick up on it, and you'd be surprised what doors open because of it.
Yeah. I think you have to want to, like Danielle was saying, resting bitch face is a form of protection called leave me alone.
Yeah,
And I think that, that's a great awareness to have too, right? To if you do want to be left alone, you can just change your face to sort of match that.
absolutely. Absolutely, and there's no harm in it, because we all need, like, what's the term from the Bible? Life is a movement and a rest, and we all need to rest sometimes. We all need a little time alone. So if that's what you need, switch off. Absolutely, why not?
Right. Right. Well, I love all of these great tips you've given us today on how to be able to see more joy, because I think that's part of the challenge sometimes is we want to believe that people are happy with us and that they like us, they're glad to be around us, but sometimes we're not always getting that vibe, and you're telling us to feel the vibe, but also to you there's some cues that we can look for specifically in the eyes as well. Lynn said Thomas is here too, and he smiled when he heard your voice and saw you, Jessica. Good morning, Thomas. Good to see you. And that's a really interesting. So, Lynn's son is higher up on the autism spectrum and is nonverbal and things like that. And so, it's really interesting to see how Thomas reacts to different things because he cannot express himself verbally. It's really neat to watch that. Do you ever like study those types of individuals in the work that you do? Because I'm thinking that might be a good place to like, because they can't say anything, to see like what those reactions are.
It's not something I have much experience of, to be honest with you. And I know this, and I know the spectrum is very broad indeed. It covers such wide territory.
Right.
I have engaged with some people on the spectrum, but usually they're much more. They are verbal, and they're, in some cases, they're actually very accomplished and
Right.
very successful. That they tend to be the ones I come across more often. So it's in that situation, it's more a case of just helping them recognize a few sort of smaller visual
Mhm.
cues.
Yeah, it would be an interesting, I think an interesting line of work to be in as well, I would think, because I think too, a lot of times there's, um, some people do have that more resting face, or they don't express themselves well facially, and so people just assume that they're mad or something like that without taking into the account maybe they just don't express themselves well in their face.
Yeah, I was that person for for a good many years, absolutely,
Yeah.
because of like what I told you about, and then I had stuff I was carrying that people assumed I was angry when I wasn't feeling necessarily anything in particular. But when you have a more angular face like I do,
Mm,
people are more likely to get that vibe anyway, because we
mm,
associate a more like angular structure. Like if you go back to like old animated movies like Snow White, for
mm,
example, the witch always had very pointy features, or even like going back to like the Wizard of Oz, the witch is there. Whereas if you look at Bambi, the rounded cheeks, the big eyes, when we see that, we go, it softens us. So because we know the rounded features are no threat, so we
oh.
relax.
Well, I feel better about my cheeks now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they're
I
they're,
love it.
they're great. They're a great empathy, great indication, great of empathy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can see that. I feel better now. Thank you, Joseph. Um, I would love for you to tell everybody how you work with people, what they can find at clearsightcommunications.com.
Yeah, I work with people in a variety of different settings. There's the sort of the clinical stuff, which is where I help people with negotiation. I help people with where I may be called to sit in on interviews for you know C-suites. I help sales teams. I help people in their personal relationships where there may be. I'm not a counselor. I'm very clear about that, but I do help people bridge the communication gap in relationships. I help again business leaders, business owners with their communication and their presentation, because the fact that somebody has risen up the ladder doesn't mean they're confident, and it doesn't mean they're communicating the way they would like to, or that they're perceived as they would like to be perceived. So I help people recognize how they're actually coming across, and help them make sure their communication is very clear and effective, both with colleagues, teams, or counterparts across the table. You're on mute, Jessica.
I am muted. That's one way to tell that you're someone's not expressing themselves is when they're muted. I love to follow Joseph on social media because you often post little videos and things like that, giving us just little insights. And definitely check out clearsightcommunications.com if you'd like to work with Joseph as well. But for anybody that has a show as well who's doing videos regularly, it is so important. And even before I met Joseph, I shared with my different hosts on the Breakthrough Show Network how important it is to express yourself because we're not face to face. You can't like feel the vibes of somebody next to you. And so I think Joseph's advice that he gives on online and also on his website is just amazing for anybody that it gives us the ability to come across more authentically, I feel like, and to really have people understand how is she really expressing herself, what's she really saying. So thank you so much, Joseph, for the work that you do in the world. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jessica. And it literally is a joy to see you again.
It is. I was so happy when you said you would do the show because it's been a minute since we've been able to chat. So thank you so much, Joseph, for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with birthdays and more, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a minute.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. It is Friday, February 23rd, 2024. I hope you are doing well today, and I hope you really enjoyed our guest on today's show today. Lynn said, Thomas's face speaks volumes. The looks he gives expresses his feelings. Absolutely. I remember, too, when my grandfather had his stroke and he was unable to talk anymore after that. And he became very adept at using his face to speak. Like it was very clear his eyes would widen, and he would I really see what Joseph was talking about the eyes speaking for sure as I think back on that. Brittany said, oh, so there is a purpose for my chubby cheeks. Yes, absolutely. Joseph, for all the chubby cheek people out there in the audience this morning, just know that Joseph says you're amazing. That's what he was saying in his segment. You are trustworthy and all of that good stuff. Brittany loved that segment. I'm so glad. We'll definitely have to have Joseph back. He was amazing. So thank you so much, Joseph, for being here today. Without further ado, guys, it's time to celebrate birthdays. Let me know if you have a birthday today or tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you.
In the world of celebrity, Dakota Fanning is I can't believe she's 30 years old today, you guys. If you guys know the actress Dakota Fanning, 30 years old today. Emily Blunt is 41 today. Josh Gad, the voice of Olaf from Frozen, among many other things, is 43 years old today. Niecy Nash is 54 today. Damon John from Shark Tank is 55 years old today. And the celebrities in my life, I've been connected with her for a really long time. She is an incredible intuitive and healer, and definitely recommend you checking her out. Jade Redder, Rehder. She has a birthday today. So happy birthday, Jade. And thank you for being a part of the Friendship Paradox coming July 2024. Yes, thank you so much, Jade, and happy birthday to you. So without further ado, guys, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dakota Fanning, Emily Blunt, Josh Gad, Niecy Nash, Damon John, and Jade Redder. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating today. And I'll catch everybody that had a birthday over the weekend when we come back on Monday. We will be back next week for 3 more incredible episodes of Project Joy Live. So I hope you'll join us for that. Also, coming up today, you guys, we've got a few 2-3 things here. Beginning at 9:55 a.m. Eastern time. If you've got work to do, schoolwork to do, anything like that, please feel free to join us for our free virtual co-working in our virtual community. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen, or head to thebreakthroughshownetwork.com and join our virtual community there. And that's beginning at 9:55 a.m. We get started at 10 and run till 12 o'clock. It's time to really buckle down and get that to-do list done. So join us this morning. Then coming up at 1 p.m. this afternoon, I will be on the Breakthrough Show for an all-new episode with Oleg Lohid. He will be sharing with us about the breakthroughs he's experienced in his new venture called Moments Worth Remembering. I'll be sharing a little bit about the Moments Worth Remembering book that I received from Oleg and my husband, and I look forward to diving into all the incredible breakthroughs and catching up with Oleg on the show. So that's at 1 p.m. Eastern time today on the Breakthrough Show Network. Then coming up at 8 p.m. tonight, Brittany is hosting another incredible craft circle. Whether you're doing a DIY, you've got a craft project, or you just want to be surrounded by creative inspiration, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time in Brittany's lobby. Again, you can scan the QR code or go to thebreakthroughshownetwork.com and head over to Brittany's lobby, and you'll be able to join us for this free craft circle. It was so much fun when we did it the last time. So super big thank you to Brittany for hosting this event. It's going to be incredible. Let's see. Lynn said, I actually have an anniversary this year since there is a February 29th. That's amazing. To all the leap year babies, that's an incredible thing. You get a birthday this year. Only happens every 4 years, I think, right? That's a leap years every 4 years, isn't it? Yes. We're going to go with that. If not, Brittany says, yay, it's going to be so much fun. So excited for craft circles. And I've been crocheting over here, so I'll be excited to relax for that. Especially after talking so much today, I need to just have a moment. As I mentioned, we will be back next week for Project Joy Live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Also, we have spirit sessions coming up on Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern time, Rewriting Reality with Shiraz at 3 p.m. on Monday. Beyond 2D, we're at the second episode about grief coming up Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pomodoro sessions, Project Joy, the Breakthrough Show. We've got incredible guest Carolyn McGee coming up next week. So much in store. And I hope you'll join us. Be sure you subscribe, do all the nice things to the videos wherever you're watching them. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I want to thank Joseph McGuire for being here again today. And thanks to all of you for being here and making this show incredible every single morning we're on. I really appreciate you. You bring a lot of joy to my life. All of that said, I remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. And I will see you guys next week. I love you all so much. Bye.
Trying.